Ladies and gentlemen, this right here is dubbed the top 11 reasons against the new design. This is by somebody known as LTH. LTH has been one of those fans that's been very vocal about the redesign, but now gives top 11 reasons, kind of taking a page from Doug Walker, the nostalgia critic. Now, here's the first reason. They count it down. The number 11 reason. Lack of originality. And they say, and I quote, "The new design looks too much like an Amy Rose recolor. It's all too similar to the look of Amy from Sonic and the Olympics. The bracelets, the gloves, the lack of cheek fur, and the eye shape." What? She has to look less original now? Number 10. The look is less rebellious. It just doesn't fit a tomboy warrior princess that uses her brains as her most potent weapon. The new look is just sterile and generic, just like everything else that has been altered in this franchise. I mean, if you want to have a new look for her for the 20th anniversary, why not a look that says, quote unquote, "This may be a new age, but we will never forget where we came from." I know that may be a little difficult to do, but it will be worth it. Here's an example. Lara Croft of Tomb Raider fame recently had a redesign, but the new look isn't really that different, and it still reflects who she is. Is it too much to ask that same thing happen here? Okay, is it too much to ask that the same thing happens here? Number 9. The new look is offensively inoffensive. The new look is offensively inoffensive. I mean, how much more do we have to make things and characters in Sonic's world look like it was designed by little kids for little kids? Are they deliberately trying to avoid any detail or sophistication? Number 9, and this is one of the long ones, or maybe not. Oh, that's number 8. Number 8, I should say. The new look is less beautiful. Back in the day when things were done more right, brains were not the only thing she had going for her. Her look reminded viewers that Sonic was a lucky guy to have her. But now that's gone. She now looks like a nice young Mobian woman, and far more like jailbait. Now, if you say that Sally looks good, people might not know where you. Okay, now if you say that Sally looks good, people might not know you were referring to her classic look and accuse you of being sick in the head. Consider this being piled on top of the already existing mountain of BS about. Consider this being piled on top of the already existing mountain of BS about. If you find anthro characters like Sally good looking, it means you want to screw animals. That Aryanist assumption ignores the fact that the Mobian brain is no less advanced than ours. Plus, learn the difference between fantasy and reality. If you can't tell the difference between anthro animals and real ones, you're hopeless. A being is not determined by a body, but by their mind. If you can't understand that, there is nothing I can say or do to help you. I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but this new look makes it even harder to deal with those situations. So thank you for making us look even more like freaks. And by the way, in the comics right now, she's old enough to marry. She just doesn't look that age anymore. Number 7. The new look disrupts future continuity. In the later years of Mobius, Queen Sally looks more or less like she always did, but a few more years down the road. But this new look invalidates all that. This is already on top of how the writers can stick. This is already on top of how the writers can't stick to a constant story. Oh, and by the way, they just declared the Mobius series of the later years to no longer be canon. I'm guessing they are using this new look to justify anything. So, thanks a lot for butchering the story even further. In fact, they're not even going to be calling Sonic's planet Mobius anymore. Number 6. Excuse me. Alright, number 6. It proves that once and for all that Sega / Sonic Team / Archie are not listening to the fans. Rather, it is the other way around. Just when I finally thought that Sega was finally getting their heads out of the butts, after 15 years with things like Sonic 4, Sonic Colors, and Sonic Generations, it is now starting to look like we're going right back to the Sonic cycle. By the looks of it, Sega was only pretending to listen and care. I know because in this case, when the new design was revealed, everybody there hated it. The presenter said it was an evaluation period, and yet they still used it anyway. It's official now. The only way we can get them to care is to force them to dragging them around, kicking and screaming. Number 5. It caves in to the politically correct crybabies. I've been told time and time again that the new look is not because of the people who kept complaining about how she's naked. And we've reminded them over and over again that she has fur to cover herself with. So even if this new design were not mandated for that reason, it still begs the question, why do the female characters require far more clothes and the male ones virtually none? Censorship is no good. 4. Excuse me. It doesn't pay tribute to the SatAM fans very well. I'm simply tired of so-called Sonic fans saying how we need to quote-unquote get with the times. Well, to be blunt, the quote-unquote times are looking pretty grim. You might as well say, quote-unquote, this is the dark age for Sonic now, accept it. If that's what, quote-unquote, getting with the times is all about, I don't want to have anything to do with it. Instead, I want to reset. Set or resist. Resist, reset, whatever. So I think you can forgive me for refusing to, quote-unquote, go with the flow. When I notice the flow leads over a cliff, just accept it over my dead body. The fans and the former fans are still alive. We're not mostly dying off. This is the entertainment industry, not the tobacco industry. 3. This will only cause even more needless division in an already divided enough fan base. First of all, I just want to say that yes, I know that a few changes here and there, now and again, may be necessary just to keep things fresh. Otherwise, things would eventually get boring. After all, it's not how we evolved. Okay, no, hold on. After all, it's how we evolved, not how we evolved. That's my fault. So after all, it's how we evolved. Now, that being said, not all changes are successful in achieving these ends. Decay is not a form of evolution. There is no considerable difference. Evolution, by definition, is simply a change for the better, until an equilibrium is established. But why change things when an equilibrium, easy for me to say, but why change things when an equilibrium already is established? In layman terms, don't fix what's not broken. Once again, Once again, this is another unnecessary change that has a meat cleaver effect on the fanbase. The result is one side who follows every decision like a moth to the flame about to be incinerated, and the other side acting like a mountain resisting a hurricane. But put aside how you feel about the new design for a moment and ask yourself this question. If this redesign did not happen, would the Sally fanbase be divided? Or would the Sally fans be divided? The obvious answer is no. I was mostly used to this fanbase being a divided one, grudgingly. However, I never thought that the Sally fans would be divided. Sadly, I was wrong. Number 2. The process of how this new design was introduced is horrific. Put aside how you feel about the new look one way or another. Instead, focus on what caused the new look in the story. Grab a barf bag just to be on the safe side. You ready? I hope you are. Basically, after roboticizing her body, he later replaced much of her insides with weapons. That's how she will have her new look. After all, not after all. I'm so used to seeing after. Whatever. That's how she will have her new look. For all we know, her face looks different because her head was cut off and replaced with a new one. I may have expected this sudden dark turn from a mild comic intended for the younger ones turned X-rated / fic in an issue of Sonic Q, but not here. Good Lord Almighty! It's like something a psycho would write. If you honestly can't see a problem with that, I question your loyalty. I question your sanity, and I even question your morality. Seriously, are you made of stone? And before you say, but you're making a big deal about a fictional story. First of all, thank you, Captain Obvious. I'm just thankful this isn't real. And second, you bet you're immortal. Old soul, I'm making a big deal about this. I'm not the only one who is tired of seeing Sally getting the shaft all the time. First they tried to kill her off, then they had a close call, then they derailed her character, then they had a shot in the head, to have her brought back via time travel, then have her sacrifice herself and roboticized again, and then atomically turned into an experiment of horror. And yet the people responsible for this comic claim they, quote-unquote, like Sally? Yeah, right. They, quote-unquote, likes her the same way David Parker Ray liked young women. Yeah, I'm really going to go there. I mean, good Lord. It may as well be porn for the Sally haters at this point. Can you imagine what would happen if Amy Rose was treated like this? The Sega headquarters would probably receive bomb threats. It's on a daily basis. No offense to what happened today. My prayers and condolences go with the families and people affected by that Boston tragedy. Once you understand, getting back on base though. Once you can understand what we've been through, you can understand why we don't deserve to be called, quote-unquote, whiners. We deserve to be called, quote-unquote, people who have had enough. Okay, let's see now. And I don't want to hear, quote-unquote, but she could not feel anything. First of all, you're wrong. The roboticizer was intended to help people live longer, and its inventor, Sir Charles Hedgehog, understood that a series of sensors that acts like the mechanical counterpart of parts of the nervous system would be necessary in order to preserve oneself. So she could feel every ungodly thing that happened to her. And second, even if that were true, is that supposed to comfort me? It's the Jeffrey Dahmer defense. Quote unquote, at least they didn't feel anything before I used their bodies as a trophy. Yeah, we'll understand. So for that reason, I would oppose the new design even if I liked it. Now, if you're one of the people who somewhat prefers the new look but strongly oppose how the new look happened, I may go easy.